Okay, I think we're ready to roll here. So thank you so much for being on Rich Girl. Gosh, this is like number 109, 109 recordings for Rich Girl. Thank you all. We're growing in the number of attendees. We're growing in people from all different walks of life. So thank you for being on. This is the second series for March of having a guest speaker on it, and I couldn't be more excited. You know, there are people that come into your life that are your mentors, and this speaker today started with me as one of my mentors. And then as I grew, because I took every piece of advice she gave me, I grew into a friend. And let me just tell you, when you can go from a mentoring relationship to a friendship relationship, there's a whole lot of respect that goes on there. Don't you know? Her topic today is so timely because in the absence of integrity, honesty, and really being able to live your life in values, the values that matter, this topic just burns in my heart. I'm so glad that she's going to be the one to really roll the story out, the story about culture versus cult, or cult versus culture. So I would like you to be introduced to top ranking. Before she retired from her company of several decades, she was the top of the top. I mean, the best of the best, the cream of the crop. It doesn't get any higher, it doesn't get any better than what Pat Danforth has accomplished in her career, in her life as a wife, mother, and executor. I mean, it doesn't get any better. So Pat Danforth, I'm just going to let you take it away because I am at your feet right now. So my friend, I give you applause. Thank you for being on today.
Well, Suzanne, thank you. It's an honor that you asked me, and you are truly one of my BFFs. Just from the very first day I met you, you struck me just walking up the aisle after I was finished speaking, and that had to be 30 years ago. I guess I remember you, and there were a couple hundred people in that audience, and you really struck me as a very important, wonderful person. So I'm going to give you a disclaimer first. Yes, I'm old, and I am old-fashioned. I am a rule follower. I was in Girl Scouts for 12 years. My husband was an Eagle Scout. He was a fighter pilot in the Air Force. Then he went with Delta for 16 years after he retired from the Air Force. I am used to uniforms, rules, conformity. So if that's not you, and I'm a safety and security girl. So see, that all that stuff gives me safety and security. If that's not you, you can, you know, I don't care what you adapt as long as it's not integrity. You can change some things around. But I guess, you know, the funny thing is we didn't know we were old until COVID, and everyone started calling us elderly. So that has been like one of the roughest parts of COVID. I can say that jokingly, knowing that many people have had a very, and are still having a very rough time. But attitude also just helps you a lot. When I became connected with the company that I eventually, 41 years later, retired from, I was just struck from the very first day with what I was told the priorities in the company were. And the priorities were put your faith first, your family second, and your business third. And I remember clearly, I was 23, I'll be 73 in a month. So yeah, it's been a while. 50 years, oh my gosh. I remember thinking, consciously thinking, sure, we'll see what they say, you know, once I'm really involved and I start hearing people, you know, really talk. And the thing that just struck me from the beginning and has never ended is that the very key people in our company are the ones that continue to say that. And I believe it. Put your faith first, your family second, and your business third. Now, there are times when it's a balancing act. Life is a balancing act. But if we can use those as our general priorities, I think we have much more likelihood of success in our overall lives. I was taught to look people in the eye, to pay attention to what they were saying, to make them feel important. Now, you can't make anybody feel anything, but you can certainly do your best for them to realize that they are important to you. And I think a person's name is hugely important, remembering their names. That's something that I am gifted with that, but it's also because I have spoken positively to myself for many years and said, I'm really good at remembering names. I'm really good at remembering names. I've said that at least 50 years. And I hear people all the time saying, I can't remember names. I'm no good at remembering names. Oh, I remember faces, but I don't remember names. Stop it. Stop saying that. Say, I'm getting better and better at remembering names, because that is something very valuable to a person. Remembering their name, looking them in the eye, remembering how they spell their name, remembering how they say their name. And I think that's just a huge thing for making them realize that they are important to you, whether it's just a few minutes conversation or it's a lifelong friendship. But I want to add two more things to make me feel important. I want to add, make me feel comfortable. And we do that by not mirroring people, because that is so gimmicky and manipulative. You know, some companies tell you, well, stand like they're standing and do this and do that and say their name 10 times. And no. People feel comfortable when, you know, you keep a comfortable distance. Americans in general speak at an arm's distance. They don't get up in your face. Now, right now we're at a much greater distance, but it won't be that way forever. So, you know, keep your distance. Speak at a volume that seems appropriate for the surroundings and appropriate for, can they hear you? Because if someone asks you to keep repeating yourself, it's quite possible you are not taking into consideration that they're having a hard time hearing you. So it's just paying attention to those things to help make them feel comfortable with you. And then the third key thing to me is to think in every interaction with everyone, what's on their mind is, okay, what's the bottom line on this? What's in this for me? What's in this for me? I don't care if you're talking to a 2-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 120-year-old, if you're in the neighborhood, at your child's school, at your workplace, it doesn't matter. It's people want to know what's in it for them to do whatever it is that you are offering them. And I mean, it's just common sense that everybody wants to know that. So it's 3 really important things. Make me feel important, make me feel comfortable, and what's in this for me. So to me, that's some of the priorities. And helping people to feel that they're important to you is really focusing on them. Pretend like you have a miner's hat on, and you know they have those headlamps, and make sure that that headlamp is always focused on that person. And this just popped into my mind as well. When you're speaking on stage, and many of you do speak on stage, or you speak in the classroom or whatever, don't just stare at that one spot, that one person. Or, you know, I really worked at engaging, even if it was 10,000 people in the audience. I looked from side to side as I was talking. I'd read ahead in my notes, or we'd have the, I forget what you call those screens up, those clear things that you put your words on. And I'd look from one to the other, but I would make it look like I was looking at the audience, because my goal was to engage everyone in the audience, that they felt like it made a difference to me that they were in that room. And then of course that miner's headlamp is huge when you're talking to just 1 or 2 people. Story. I love the movie Beaches with Bette Midler, and her girlfriend that she hadn't seen for 20 years or whatever, Bette Midler had become famous, and she went back to visit with her girlfriend Barbara Hershey, and Barbara Hershey's very quiet, and Bette Midler just starts spewing everything about herself, this and this and this, and finally she says, but enough about me, let's talk about you. What do you think about me? And
Yeah.
him and I just have that private joke that, when we're around people that are doing that, we're like, but enough about me. I might just turn to him and just quietly say that in his ear, but enough about me. Or we'll just share a look. And that's because you know what you know. You need to know what they know. And I realize now, when Suzanne and I and others do the Zoom calls and classes, of course, we're talking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
In a relationship, I always heard as a child growing up in church, golden rule. But as I grew older, I realized that many people thought that he who has the gold makes the rules. And that is not the golden rule. The golden rule is doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I'm going to take that a step farther. Really working at doing unto others as they would have it done to them. I am a very direct person, and like too much in many ways. And there are people who can't handle that directness. So I have to really tone it down. And I know people still think I'm very direct and straight and outspoken and everything else. You should have seen me 50 years ago. And I have really softened, and it's taken my good friends like Suzanne to just kind of buff some rough edges off, although I'm still me. And my mother always said to me, you know, character doesn't change. And I preached that to our daughters. Character doesn't change. When you're dating a guy, if this is not someone that you want to be with for the rest of your life, potentially, lose him. You know, character doesn't change. It's what's really ingrained. Question that I ask people to ask themselves all the time: what if everyone did that? What if everyone said that? What if everyone, you know, spit their gum in the grass? I mean, it's silly little things. And I say that to myself all the time. Well, what if everyone? Tim and I tend to go around and pick up trash. We don't do that now unless we have gloves on. But, you know, what if everyone just didn't throw that gum wrapper or whatever on the ground? What if everyone took one shopping cart back into the grocery store? We do that. We both take a cart. So, I mean, what if everyone? And we were in a Bible study. Oh boy, this is like 30 years ago. And the couple in their kitchen, it was a couple's Bible study, and in their kitchen they had this little sign that said, it's much easier to do the right thing than to try and justify why you didn't. Wow, I thought that is so profound. And I use that a lot in my daily life. I mean, I really, really, really attempt to do things, the right things that, you know, and I am, as Suzanne said, I am very outspoken, but I really work at doing all of those things. I don't think that's anything that necessarily comes naturally to everyone. So, image. Okay, I'm the image Nazi. I'm sorry. I have been called that, seriously. And image to me is hugely important. Part of it is your dress. I'm going to talk about that first. Coco Chanel, famous designer, famous, said, dress shabbily and they will remember the dress. Dress impeccably and they will remember the woman or the man.
That's good.
Either case. Yeah. And impeccably doesn't have to mean expensively. Mm-hmm. I had a favorite black skirt till I outgrew it, and I got it at Target. It was just a really cute, plain little skirt. And I mean, I have a vest that looks like it's real fur. It's not. People are always, they assume it's real fur because they know that I can afford real fur. I don't know what it is. It's not real fur. And it was $25 on sale in the department store. And it looks like $1 million. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to do, to do the look that you're going for. In my business, we were asked to wear skirts because we really believed, and I've believed this for the 50 years I've been around this company, that it attracts positive attention. And a pastor said to me once, he had gone on to become more of a counselor. And he said to me once, we were driving somewhere in the car, a woman in pants is still a woman, but a woman in a skirt is perceived more as a lady. Mm-hmm. And when you are perceived more as a lady, it didn't mean you were any more of a lady. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you can have on a $1,000 pantsuit, and I can have on a $50 Target skirt and a nice jacket and heels, and people probably are going to take me at least as seriously. Mm-hmm. I remember getting into the elevator once at the hotel at one of our big events, and there were 2 women and a man in there, and they all had on identical pantsuits. And I don't mean like a uniform. I mean, they just looked like they had a uniform on. These women looked like they were in some kind of pants uniform. And they had on the same kind of unattractive shoes. I mean, I don't bowl because the shoes are ugly. You know, I'm sorry. And anyway, so I looked at them and I said, oh my goodness, you must all work for the same company, because it was like glaringly obvious. And they said, oh yes, we work for such and such. It was a major company. And I just thought, you poor ladies, you would look so sharp if you just changed those pants into a skirt. Now, you may not agree with me. You may not be in that kind of a background. That's okay. I'm just saying for those of you that want to know the difference, there is a difference. And it's just so easy to have the camel's nose start creeping into the tent when you start lowering your physical image.
Yeah.
I want to add one other thing to that, and that is that fashion changes, trendy changes, but style endures.
Yeah.
And you will be known for your style. I mean, whatever that style is, and you can create that consciously if you choose to. Depends on what business you're in, what style you're going for. But in mine, I went for the feminine style and always appropriately dressed. When you have something on during business hours and it is showing your cleavage, you are not taken as seriously. If you have on a skirt that is so tight and so short, it looks like you have an elastic band around your hips, people are wondering what you're selling. I'm sorry, Suzanne told you. I just say it like I see it. I can't say I just tell it like it is, because who am I to say what it is? But I do say what it appears to me to be. So I'm going to end with a fun story. And this is, I was at a workshop many years ago, and I snuck out to go to the restroom, and I came back and I was standing at the door waiting for an opportunity to go in, and these very attractive young businessmen in their suits were standing in the doorway looking in, thinking, what is going on in there? Because everybody was clapping and cheering and smiling and hugging each other, and you know, it's just a woman's business meeting to them. They're like, what is it? And they said, what is this? And I told them who I was with and what the company was, and they said, are you guys a cult? And I said, no, we're not a cult. We're a culture of happy, positive, giving, caring people. And they watched for a few more minutes and they got it. So think of a culture.
That's beautiful and also true. And I really believe that one of the Rich Girl principles is that if you want to be successful, then take the advice of very successful people. And that's really what we have done today. You know, Pat, not only are you a multi-millionaire and have earned many millions, but you've also taught many people on how to be able to live their lives, their professional lives, their entrepreneurship, to be able to be highly successful. And I know that you're known for image, and you don't ever have a second chance to make a first impression, and you really talk a lot about that. And now in the day and age where we're doing so much on social media, we're doing so much on Zoom and then Facebook, I mean, everything. You know, even I think image is even more important because everybody else is letting it go. And we want to do the opposite about what everybody else is doing, because we want to make that memorable, positive impression, since we don't have a lot of other things as far as senses that people can pick up. You know, they can pick up our voice, our inflections, our face, and pretty much waist up kind of thing, but their other senses aren't being being used. So that image is so important. And I just got to say, and end with today on Rich Girl number 109 today, that you just can't argue with success. So let's not even argue with success today. You have given us all some super golden nuggets today in the way of values and principles and really how to live. And we appreciate this. It needs to be creased and double creased and triple creased a lot. So thank you. I hope a whole bunch of people listen to this, and please comment, you guys, comment on here, and then Pat Danforth will be able to see them, and she personally can write you back. which I'm sure she will do. All right, Pat, my friend, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for being on. Goodbye, everybody. And we will talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.